My girlfriend gave me an ultimatum to propose within 2 weeks, made me miss my dad's cancer diagnosis, and then committed credit card fraud. I, 28 male, never thought I'd be posting here, but recent events have left me questioning everything about my relationship. My girlfriend Sharon, 28 female, and I have been together for 3 years, and what started as a loving relationship has turned into something I barely recognize anymore. Let me give you some background. Sharon and I met through mutual friends at a local pub trivia night. I was there with my best friend Mike and his girlfriend Katie. Sharon was on the opposing team with her coworkers. Throughout the night, I noticed how she kept glancing at our table, and during a break between rounds, Katie, who worked with Sharon, introduced us. She was witty, charming, and we clicked instantly. We ended up talking more than playing trivia, and by the end of the night, I had her number. Our first date was at a small Italian restaurant downtown. We talked for hours about everything: our careers, she's in marketing, I'm in software development, our families, our dreams. She told me about growing up with her younger sister Emma and how close they were despite their competitive relationship. I shared stories about my tight-knit family and our traditions. Our first year together was amazing. We traveled to different states, tried every new restaurant in town, and genuinely enjoyed each other's company. Her family welcomed me with open arms, especially her mom Linda, who always made me feel like part of the family. She would invite me over for Sunday dinners and even taught me some family recipes. My parents were equally fond of Sharon, particularly my dad, who appreciated her ambition and drive in her career. The dynamic with our families was great until about 6 months ago when Emma, Sharon's sister, got engaged to her boyfriend of 2 years. I noticed an immediate change in Sharon. She became obsessed with weddings and marriage. At first, it was subtle. She'd leave her phone open to engagement ring websites, or casually mention which of her friends were getting married. But as Emma's wedding planning progressed, Sharon's behavior became more intense. Emma's engagement seemed to trigger something in Sharon. She started comparing our relationship timeline to her sister's, pointing out that Emma was younger but getting married first. Linda, Sharon's mom, didn't help the situation. She began making comments about how lovely it would be to plan 2 weddings at once and how perfect it would be if her daughters got married in the same year. The real trouble started just before Thanksgiving. Sharon came over to my place one evening, saying we needed to talk. She sat me down for what she called a timeline discussion, but what was clearly an ultimatum: either propose within 2 weeks or she'd have to make a decision she didn't want to make. When I tried explaining that I wasn't ready for that kind of pressure and that ultimatums weren't healthy for our relationship, she broke down crying. She accused me of stringing her along and said that at our age, we should know what we want. She brought up how her cousin just got engaged after only a year of dating, and how embarrassing it was for her to keep attending family events as just a girlfriend. Then came the devastating news about my dad. He had some concerning test results that indicated possible cancer. When I suggested staying back for Thanksgiving to be with my family instead of going to her family's celebration in Vermont as planned, Sharon had a complete meltdown. She accused me of abandoning her family and claimed I was using my dad's situation as an excuse. She cried about how she'd already told her entire extended family I was coming and how embarrassing it would be to show up alone. The guilt trip was so intense that I ended up going to Vermont, missing my own family's Thanksgiving and the chance to support my dad during a scary time. Christmas brought even more drama. My family has a tradition of spending Christmas in Florida. We've done it every year since I was a kid. It's a big deal for us, with all the cousins and grandparents getting together at my aunt's beach house. When I brought up our travel plans, Sharon dropped another bomb. She refused to join unless we were engaged, saying she couldn't face my extended family as just a girlfriend anymore. She said it would be too painful to watch everyone else be part of the family while she was still on the outside. This felt especially manipulative considering I'd sacrificed Thanksgiving with my family for her. When I tried expressing how hurt I was by this, Sharon immediately turned it around on me. She claimed I was attacking her and making her feel guilty when she was just being honest about her feelings. This has become a pattern. Anytime I try to communicate my concerns, she accuses me of being aggressive or mean, even though I'm always careful to stay calm and choose my words carefully. The situation got worse when Sharon started involving her family. Linda, who used to be so warm towards me, began making passive-aggressive comments about men who can't commit and how some people just waste women's time. At Emma's engagement party, several of Sharon's aunts cornered me to ask about my intentions. Her sister even pulled me aside at a family dinner to tell me how Sharon cries herself to sleep because I won't propose. I spoke to Mike about this, and he pointed out something that really hit home. He said Sharon seems to care more about getting engaged than actually being married to me specifically. He reminded me how she compared ring sizes with her sister and complained that Emma's ring was bigger than what she assumed I could afford. He also mentioned how Sharon had been making comments at group gatherings about certain couples getting engaged too quickly, always with a pointed look in my direction. The breaking point came last week when Sharon found out my cousin got engaged to his girlfriend of 1 year. She completely lost it, saying it wasn't fair that everyone else gets their happy ending while she's stuck waiting. When I tried to explain that every relationship moves at its own pace, she accused me of gaslighting her and stormed out of my apartment. She then proceeded to post vague, passive-aggressive messages on social media about men who are afraid of commitment. I love Sharon, but I'm starting to feel like I'm being emotionally manipulated. The constant pressure, guilt trips, and inability to have an honest conversation without her turning it around on me is exhausting. The way she used my dad's health situation against me still bothers me deeply. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells, knowing that any family event or celebration could turn into another opportunity for pressure and guilt. Last night, Sharon texted me saying she's given me enough time to think about our future and needs an answer by the end of the week. She said she won't waste her best years waiting for someone who doesn't see her worth. Am I missing something here? Am I wrong for wanting to make this decision on my own terms? Update. Things have taken an unexpected turn since my last post. After reading everyone's comments and doing some serious thinking, I decided to have one final conversation with Sharon about the pressure and manipulation. I wanted to give our relationship one last chance, even though many of you advised against it. I invited her over to talk last Saturday, but what happened next completely blindsided me. Sharon arrived with a whole different energy. She was eerily calm, almost smug. She sat down on my couch, the same spot where we'd had countless movie nights and conversations, and told me she needed to confess something. Apparently, she had already been ring shopping with her mom. Using my credit card information that she had saved from when I let her order birthday gifts for her nephew on my Amazon account 3 months ago. She had put a $3,000 deposit on an engagement ring, thinking she could help move things along and that I'd thank her later when I saw how perfect the ring was. Her plan was to have the ring ready so when I finally proposed, I wouldn't have to worry about ring shopping. She actually thought she was doing me a favor. The way she described it, so casually, like it was the most normal thing in the world, made my stomach turn. When I confronted her about the unauthorized use of my card, she tried to downplay it. She kept saying things like I did this for us and you were taking too long to do it yourself. She even had the audacity to show me pictures of the ring on her phone, explaining how she chose one similar to but slightly bigger than her sister Emma's ring. I immediately called my credit card company to dispute the charge and had to file a report about unauthorized use. Sharon sat there in shock as I made the call, probably never expecting me to react this way. When she realized I was serious about not letting this slide, she broke down and revealed that Emma's perfect engagement had been putting enormous pressure on her. Their mom had been comparing them constantly, making comments about how Sharon must be doing something wrong if she wasn't engaged yet. But it got worse. As Sharon became more desperate to explain herself, she let slip that she'd been telling her family and friends that we were already secretly engaged and planning a surprise announcement at New Year's. She had even started a wedding Pinterest board with my mom, who had no idea about any of this and thought Sharon was just being enthusiastic about eventually joining the family. She had already picked out venues, contacted wedding planners, and even put herself on a waiting list for a popular local venue, all behind my back. The most disturbing part was finding out she'd been having weekly lunches with my mom, discussing wedding plans and family traditions. My mom, being the sweet person she is, went along with it all, not wanting to spoil what she thought was an exciting time for Sharon. Sharon had effectively manipulated both our families into her fantasy. I ended things that night. I told her that the unauthorized credit card use was fraud, but the real betrayal was the manipulation of our families and the complete disregard for my feelings and choices. She tried to argue that she only did it because she loves me so much, but I wasn't buying it anymore. The fallout has been intense. Sharon's mom has been calling and texting nonstop, switching between apologizing for enabling Sharon's behavior and begging me to reconsider. She even showed up at my workplace yesterday, causing a scene in the lobby until security had to escort her out. My own mom is heartbroken as she had grown close to Sharon, but she understands and supports my decision, especially after learning about the credit card incident. Emma, Sharon's sister, reached out to apologize. She admitted that she had no idea how far Sharon had taken things and felt guilty that her engagement might have triggered this behavior. She also revealed that Sharon had been telling people that my dad's cancer scare was just an excuse I made up to avoid proposing, which made me feel sick. I've blocked Sharon on everything and moved all my important documents to a safety deposit box. Mike is letting me crash at his place for a few weeks until I can find a new apartment, just to have some space and peace of mind. Sharon has been driving by my place at odd hours, and I don't feel comfortable staying there right now. The hardest part wasn't ending the relationship, it was realizing that the person I loved was capable of such manipulation and deceit. The Sharon I fell in love with at trivia night feels like a completely different person now. But I know I made the right choice. No relationship is worth sacrificing your self-respect and peace of mind for. My dad's tests came back clear, by the way. I was able to spend last weekend with him, making up for missing Thanksgiving. He told me he was proud of me for standing up for myself, and honestly, that meant everything.